Considering the possibility that AI will replace many jobs in the near future, which is a trend I've already noticing in administrative roles in my workplace, yes, there's a lot more of that to come. Wait till AI agents are mature. Boom. Administrative assistants will become, I'm unfortunate to say, a thing of the past. So if you know anybody who is in that field, tell them to start preparing. And again, I feel like I'm sharing some depressing news, but the change that's coming, nobody is ready for. I'm not even ready for it too. But I'm concerned, back to Shanzi, I'm concerned that losing our jobs to AI is almost certain and that finding full-time work afterward will be challenging. One idea I've been considering is whether or not it makes sense to take voluntary redundancy in the near future and invest approximately 300 shares, Tesla shares. Based on some analyses I've studied, I think these shares could potentially be worth 1 to 2 million in 5 years. If I stay in my job, I suspect AI will eventually take it away, and I'd miss out on Tesla potential growth, leaving me with much less financial stability, even after working another 5 to 10 years full time. Does this sound like a sensible approach? Well, this is brilliant. And kudos to you for asking such you're facing the music and you have a plan. And I'm very proud of that. That's like brilliance everywhere. Amazing. So let's get into kind of summarize that intro to a couple of things, where we stand. First of all, kudos once again to your impressive calculus. Option A, get a lump sum, buy 300 shares, and you get to pivot into creative pursuit, potentially with lower or maybe no immediate income, or maybe the same income, but you're much happier in your job. Option B is you keep earning a salary until AI takes your job. You miss the chance to buy Tesla shares and you delay your creative pursuit. Remember, life is short. If you don't like your job, etc., that's just no fun. Now, some of the numbers, if we look at some educated guesses, we have Tesla now. We had a big dip of Tesla a few weeks back to 220. Now it's about 235. It may dip. Monday could be an ugly open and then a rebound is what I imagine will happen. So I'll have my finger on the trigger in the morning. But if you have enough, if you get your early redundancy and enough to say buy 300 shares, let's assume it's 90,000 after taxes. You'd have extra cash for living expenses, etc. And your current salary, let's assume that's 60K. I don't know, I'm just guessing here. What would happen? And this is the fun part of this analysis. So I ran some example numbers just to think out loud. And the key is, do you need your salary now to survive? Can you handle your burn, or can you get a gig, a part-time gig, or do something on the side to create enough income to cover your expenses so you can invest? That's so important. And always have an emergency buffer as well in the event of adverse medical, etc. So again, 90K, 300 shares. In fact, if you had 90K now, you get more than 300 shares. And by the way, it's kind of bizarre. Everybody's asking questions about Tesla. I don't make up the questions, everybody. These are what's on people's minds. It's like maybe everybody has their Bitcoin bags full, but not their Tesla bag. I don't know. We'll see. Now, Tesla price in 2030. Low end, bear case is 2,000. Okay, so we're going to go from 200 to 2,000 in 5 years. It's 10x, not bad. Mid case, for many experts out there, is $5,000. High case, 8,000. I made a video 3 years ago called 8 Ways to 8,000, and people laughed me out of the room. We'll see. I'm going to stick around to see if that happens. But that was like by 2032, not 2030. Those extra 2 years, again, imagine you get to 2,000 and then things really go exponential. You go to 4,000 and then you double again and go to 8,000. That's why the 2030 to 2032 will be a crazy period. Your portfolio value on these 300 shares will go from 600K, low end, mid, 1.5 million, high, 2.4 million. More than 1.5 million is life-changing. That's a retirement bag right there. That's why I've stressed as well for years and years for everybody. We have plans to build bags of a certain number of shares, a certain number of Bitcoin, a certain number of whatever for all these different assets. The number for Tesla was always 300. So again, you've been listening, which is great. Now, if you don't do the retirement plan, maybe you have 40K saved by year 5. Maybe you live paycheck to paycheck. I don't know that. But you could find a way of buying maybe 20 shares with 40,000. I don't know. But then your retirement is extremely different. So if you can, this is the key. If you can find a way to hold on, cover your expenses, control your burn, get the bag of shares, sit tight for 4 years, 5 years, then very clearly, as you see here, your portfolio will be worth a lot more. But getting back to some numbers, these are 2 top Tesla experts that I admire very much in the space. Okay, Stern Basher. Okay, this guy is wicked smart. Okay, there's few financial modelers I respect, and I love financial modeling. Been modeling for not that modeling, the other modeling for nearly 40 years, and it's my favorite thing to do. CERN is brilliant, and so is this other fellow on the right, Joe Bakti, a German fellow. These 2 both see Tesla hitting $10,000 in 5 years, theoretically possible, again, based on modeling. Joe, back in November 26th, 2024, I think it was Curious Peji, Joe predicted that Tesla stock could easily exceed 10,000 by 2030. And again, it's this exponentiality that people aren't ready for. It sounds bonkers. Let's go back to my numbers as to what I believe the low end is by 2030. 2,000, mid 5, high 8. Okay, that's me. Other people think 10K easy by 2030. I think 8K maybe by 2032. We shall see. Either way, it's at least a 10x from here, which is great. There's not many assets that do that. So these are 2 Tesla experts. Check them out. We'll leave links below as to why. Dig into why they believe this could happen. And this is the conclusion for the case. And I must say, Shanzi, I love this question because it made me think. So best case, all right, you take the redundancy, you get your 90K, you buy your 300 shares, you become a millionaire in a couple of years, and you have your creative freedom, which means a much higher quality of life. But the worst case is you're broke, but you have 5 years of life well lived. If Tesla goes to 0, which is not going to happen. And then the best case, if you stay in the job, you got a small nest egg, and you got job stability for at least 3 to 5 years. Worst case, you miss Tesla rocket and face a late AI layoff. I don't know what's going to happen. That's for you to decide. But again, if you can find a way to get another gig and take that redundancy, I do it. Because there's a high odds if you can just hang on for 5 years with that bag, you'll do very well. So, Shanzi, thank you for the question.